Let's start the timer. It is another reverse redaction of the headlines Friday morning. We got so many more headlines Friday morning. I think we talked last night about doing Wednesdays and Fridays, right? Instead of
Yeah, it's just tough. We've tried to do Monday and Friday. It's just I think we both thought that there would still be plenty of news over the weekend, but it's just a little bit tougher on Monday because you're coming out of it's not as much hard news going on because you don't have um, quite as many. I don't know. There's just not as much going on.
yeah. I'm not sure really what it is, but yeah, it seems like over the weekend people take a break from newsworthy stuff.
Right.
So, what do you propose we talk about this morning? What did you see in the headline? What headline caught your attention?
Well, there were several for me, but I think one thing that kind of interested me because it started getting some mainstream attention is this whole "We Are Q" thing that popped up at one of the most recent Trump rallies. Just a quick side note, like one thing that I was really excited about with the 2016 election in November was I was thinking, gosh, whoever wins, at least thank goodness the campaigning will be over. Nope, no, that was completely wrong. So anyway, at Trump's latest rally, there were people holding up, like Q signs and "We Are Q," and there's so many conspiracy theories out there today that a lot of them just don't really get that much mainstream attention because you can go on the internet and pretty much find someone saying whatever you want, flat earth or whatever. And so this one though did, I guess, because of those signs at the rally. And so I looked into it a little bit to see, what actually this is supposed to be.
Right.
And this is actually one of the more entertaining ones.
Okay.
This one says that I don't know how cohesive the theory is among all the followers. I'm sure they all have different little versions of it. Basically, what I've read though is that one of the main ones floating around is that Robert Mueller was actually appointed by Trump, secretly appointed by Trump to investigate Obama, Hillary, a lot of other top-level Democrats, and even John McCain for various things. I think that's where it starts to really branch out in terms of what people believe or what they're actually being investigated for. But some people are, saying Russian collusion. Some people are just talking about like a more general deep state sort of thing to start wars and promote human trafficking and all these different things.
Wow.
So it's kind of like, it's kind of like the Pizzagate thing, only much bigger and more elaborate. So yeah.
Well, and very like the thing is about this conspiracy theory is it will come to fruition, right? Within the next hopefully within the next couple of months. I mean, if all of a sudden, what do they expect? That Mueller's just going to come out and be like, "Hey guys, we duped you."
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Again, you don't have, you asked me, right before we started, like what, where did this come from?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it doesn't need to start anywhere necessarily. It doesn't need to have any kind of logical jumping off point. You can just make it up. So yeah, so it's pretty fascinating, that I wonder what those people then think about the Paul Manafort trial, if they even acknowledge that, or if that's kind of part of, he'd worked in some capacities for previous administrations. So I don't know if their theory is like, well, what he's really being investigated for was all the past stuff. So I don't know, but.
Well, that's interesting to me because a friend of ours, Joseph Rhodes, he was pointing out that the Mueller investigation, it's Mueller, isn't it?
I think
Mueller,
it's Mueller. Yeah.
Investigation, Mueller.
Right.
Oh, sorry. That it is actually helping to drain the swamp. That
Mhm.
Manafort is one of these swampy guys, and
Yeah.
I mean, nobody hasn't drained any other the other rats, but I
Yeah.
don't know. I
Right.
guess rats is wrong, but swamp dwellers,
They're swamp rats.
swamp rat.
Yeah, swamp rats. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I guess they're getting old Michael Cohen too.
Yeah. Yeah. Michael Cohen. So
I mean, these are swampy people.
they are incredibly swampy people. Just actually, a buddy of mine yesterday asked me if I had Googled texts from Paul Manafort's kids, and I'm like, no. And so, but this actually was this is like a year or so old story, and so I browsed through some of it, and I'm not sure where that actually ended up, or if it was just too circumstantial for Mueller to include in his investigation. But yeah, gosh, it was texts between a couple of Manafort's daughters, and basically talking about one of them telling the other that the money that they had was blood money, and how he was responsible for having all these people killed in Ukraine. And I'm like, how have I not heard of this before? But so yeah, if you want an interesting read, go through that, because they're from 2017. They're from about a year ago or so. So I'm not sure if this is something that will ever really come up, or if it's just like too circumstantial to prove. But regardless, it was the texts from one of the daughter's phones, and she was convinced that their dad she was talking about him having like no moral or legal compass, that just basically talking about him being like a true sociopath who would just do anything. And how the money that they had was blood money, and he had all these people killed. So his daughter at least believes that, whether it's true or not.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta. I'm gonna link that in wherever this is broadcasted, because I think that'd be a fun read. I want to go find it and read it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
What's interesting to me is the fact that Twitter is becoming kind of a it's like its own entertainment thing. I mean, of course, I get one of the words I'm looking for is, it's like I would have never imagined that people would I would sit and just read through people's tweets,
Yeah.
like just little. But of course, there's in the past there has been books published of people writing secrets and stuff like that, and I think this is tantamount. It's or not tantamount, but it's it's a similar genre of entertainment where it's like voyeurism and
yeah,
and but it is fascinating to me. And I think on the subject of Twitter, there was something recently that came out. What was it? There was oh man, there was something I was going to propose to talk about today about Twitter, but I can't remember what it was. So okay, so a couple of things that from my side, I'll give you a choice of you pick which one we talk about, okay? Because we don't have enough time to talk about them.
Right.
All right. Number one, former WWE star Glenn Kane Jacobs wins mayoral race in Tennessee.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that one. That's a pretty good one. That's pretty good.
Number two,
we'll need a strong contender from number two. So
yeah, I don't know if there are a lot of strong contenders. Number two is France outlaws catcalling. And then let's see. So and then Fortnite, dude. Fortnite trainers are a thing now, where you can hire, parents are hiring Fortnite trainers for their kids. $20 an hour, which is, I guess, not that much, but so that their kids can get better at Fortnite.
Oh gosh, yeah, those are all pretty tempting. I think maybe well, I just want to know, like, what's the punishment? First of all, I think we might could deal with the France catcalling thing pretty quickly. Like, what do you know what the punishment is for? If
it's a fine.
Oh, okay.
It's a fine. I think it's like 100 anywhere you could get fined anywhere from 105 to $800. So
Interesting.
the equivalent in the euro, I guess. But it's actually part of I think it's part of a bigger bill. This whole effort by France to, which I think is good, to sort of curtail public harassment.
Yeah.
They got like there's part of it is phones or recording devices under people's skirts,
Yeah,
and that kind of thing. And I think the catcalling thing was tacked on at the end because there was this huge scandal, or not a huge scandal. There was this viral video that went viral with this girl was being catcalled, and she confronted her harasser.
And she got
slapped her.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Wow.
And so I think that's what spawned, like, they're like, oh, let's let's use the news to sort of get some wind for our sails.
Right.
And I think my problem, like, I think it's good to, obviously we should be working to fight harassment, but I don't know, making laws, like, kind of to your point about what is the punishment, like, how do you enforce it?
Yeah.
And I just believe in less laws and more, just public responsibility.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I believe in public responsibility too, but man, it's fading fast. I mean, in some ways, I mean, I think, it's very polarized, at least, I guess you would say, because, there's, one side that is very into, of course, the term social justice, and then
the SJWs of the world.
Yeah.
Just that term alone is a polarizing term, right? It's
right.
It's of the people that are saying it. So
right.
But it calls, it calls to your imagination, like, someone saying it, SJW, that's
right. Yeah. It's not used as a complimentary term. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, that's I don't know. Yeah, that one's a mess. That one's kind of that one's probably what were you gonna say?
You thought you were wading into the shallow waters with this.
Well, I know. I mainly just wanted to know what the fine for it was, but because I think that this one very quickly wades into deeper waters that would probably need a longer reverse redaction on. So, so maybe
put a pin in that one.
Right. So maybe we do Kane, aka Glenn Jacobs, winning the Tennessee mayoral race.
Yeah, so Kane has always been sort of one of the more intriguing WWE characters for me, because he's so he's like, remember when they were saying he was the Undertaker's brother? It was so believable because he's such a big guy and so mysterious. I don't think I've ever heard him talk, although I know he has talked, of course. And he's his persona has really changed. It's gone in like ebbs and flows over the years with WWE, because for the longest time, like you said, Kane came in. He's like, I don't know how, like 6'9", maybe, I don't know. He's a huge guy. And so he came in as playing a character that was supposedly the brother of The Undertaker, who's one of the most famous wrestlers in WWE history. The Undertaker is one of the elites. And so The Undertaker was, The Undertaker, for anyone who doesn't know, is referred to as the dead man. He came out with this mortician named Paul Bearer. He would, I think he would put people in coffins, all this different stuff. So they introduced Kane as like his brother, who I think he's almost like the Hound from Game of Thrones, where The Undertaker like
burned him when he was a child, and so he was supposed to have these, it's supposed to be like extremely disfigured. So he wore this, he wore like all red and black, like fire
And
colors.
he had like this mask.
He had a mask on that he was supposed to be like extremely disfigured. Eventually and he had this long hair, which actually just ended up being like part of the mask. He's like shaves his head bald, but and then what was funny was when they eventually unmasked him, like he's just kind of like a normal looking guy. And so they had like one contact. He had like a contact in one eye that made one eye look lighter than the other one. And what was funny was if anyone's ever watched WWE, to listen to Jim Ross. Jim Ross is this old like Oklahoman. I think he's from Oklahoma or Texas. And by God, he talks like this, and everything that's happening on right now is just the worst thing. It's just carnage in the ring right now. And so when Kane was finally unmasked, Jim Ross had to play this up as him just being like horribly disfigured because he had like a contact in one eye. So,
well, he has maybe the most plain, okay, I don't want to say the most plain face, but just sort of the most everyman white guy face ever.
Yeah, right. He does. Yeah. So it was really funny. So since then, like I haven't really followed it as much in recent years, but at one point, like his character evolved into what they called Corporate Kane, where he came down to like, he was like GM of one of the shows, and he came down to the ring in a suit. And just had and was like an executive. And but then he would like bounce back to being like old Kane. And so then once he goes back to being like old Kane, and you've seen him without the mask and the fire and all this stuff, it's like, it's a little bit, it takes definitely the most of the mystique away from it. But he's from Tennessee, and so he won
66% of the vote.
Yeah, I'm not shocked.
And he's a Republican apparently, and his Democratic. So he won 51, almost 52,000 votes, where his opponent Haney only had 26,000.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, well, you think about it though, like this is 20. Gosh, this is what, like 20 plus years after Jesse Ventura won governor of Minnesota. So
has it been 21 years, really?
Well, no, I'm just throwing a number out there. I said 20 plus.
Okay.
I think Ventura won in the 90s, didn't he?
I guess I can't remember.
Yeah. So there's definitely precedent for this, and just to a certain extent, like with Trump's win, I mean, he's not a wrestler, but just the celebrity appeal, so many people just go off of name recognition. So, but
it was 1998. I can't believe it, man. That's been a long time.
Yeah,
and Jesse Ventura is still going around talking on radio shows and spouting conspiracy theories. I would really like to see. It'd be interesting to see what Kane's platform is. There's nothing really about it. I guess he just went on name recognition alone.
I think so. I mean, again, I haven't looked at it, but I mean, when you're going to be mayor, and I think the mayor where he's going to be mayor it's not a big town, right? So
mayor's not that big of a deal, especially small town.
Right. So you got name recognition,
but you never know.
Right.
He might be the next president of the United States. Don't rule him out.
He might be. I don't know. 4 years from now, he may move on up to. I mean, I could see a situation where, like, 4 years from now, he's running for House of Representatives or something.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. All right. Well, that does it for our time. Interesting stories this morning. There's even more. I'm interested in doing that reverse redaction of the. Maybe laws in general. We could think maybe more specific laws, civic laws or something like that.
Right.
but we could look deeper into it. Thanks for joining us, whoever may watch this. And Jared, thank you.
Thanks for having me, Judah.
Well, taco to you later. Nah, they can't use that. I have to think of something.
Yeah, I'll forever be working on my closing line.
All right.